Earth looks friendly because we live on the only part of it that does not immediately destroy us. Grass, oceans, cities, mountains, clouds, very cute. But that is basically just the skin. If you were thrown downward through every layer of Earth, you would find out very quickly that our planet is not really a home. It is a giant pressure cooker with a thin, habitable crust wrapped around it. And the deeper you go, the more Earth stops acting like a planet and starts acting like a machine designed to erase you. So, let's start at the surface. This is the only layer humans are actually built for. Air pressure is normal, temperature is survivable, gravity is annoying but manageable. You can walk around, drink water, complain about rent, and pretend this rock likes you. But even here, Earth is only safe because of a very specific balance. A little too high in the atmosphere, and there is not enough oxygen. A little too deep in the ocean, and pressure starts crushing things. A little too close to a volcano, and the ground itself becomes a problem. So when people say Earth is the safe planet, what they really mean is this very thin, very lucky section of Earth is safe. Now imagine the ground suddenly opens. You fall through the soil, through pipes, roots, concrete, buried cables, and all the normal surface stuff humans built, because we forgot the planet underneath us is not empty. The first real layer is the crust. This is the hard outer shell of Earth. It sounds thick, but compared to the whole planet, it is almost nothing. Like the skin on an apple. In some ocean areas, the crust can be only a few kilometers thick. Under continents, it can be much thicker, sometimes around 70 kilometers. That sounds like a lot until you remember Earth itself is over 12,000 kilometers wide. So the crust is not the planet. The crust is the wrapper. At first, falling through it would mostly mean darkness, broken rock, and impact after impact. You would not have a clean tunnel. You would be smashed into stone almost instantly. But let's pretend you are in some impossible indestructible container, because otherwise this video ends after about 3 seconds. As you go deeper into the crust, the temperature begins rising. Mines already show this. The deeper humans dig, the hotter it gets. Workers in deep mines do not just fight darkness, they fight heat, pressure, gas, and the fact that the planet really does not want open space inside it. The deepest hole humans have ever drilled only reached a little over 12 kilometers. That is not even through the crust in many places. And yet the heat became such a problem that drilling became extremely difficult. Which is slightly embarrassing when you realize Earth still had almost the entire planet left to go. Keep falling. The rock around you gets hotter. The pressure gets heavier. Any normal machine would fail. Any normal human would be long gone. Eventually, you reach the bottom of the crust. This boundary is called the moho, which sounds like something a cartoon character would say before exploding, but it is actually where the crust gives way to the mantle. And this is where people often imagine a giant ocean of lava. But that is not exactly right. The mantle is not just a huge underground lava lake. Most of it is solid rock. Not solid like a brick sitting on a table, more like solid rock under so much heat and pressure that, over a very long time, it can slowly flow. Think of it like extremely slow, extremely hot, extremely terrifying putty made of rock. This layer makes up most of Earth's volume. It stretches from below the crust down to about 2,900 kilometers deep. So if you thought the crust was bad, congratulations. You have reached the main part of the planet. Near the upper mantle, temperatures can already climb into the hundreds and then over 1,000 degrees Celsius. That is hotter than most things humans use to destroy other things. Your container would be surrounded by rock that is not exactly liquid, but is hot enough and pressurized enough to behave in ways that feel wrong. The deeper you go, the more pressure becomes the real villain. Heat is obvious. Heat burns things. Pressure is quieter. Pressure just squeezes every part of you from every direction until there is no useful shape left. At a few hundred kilometers deep, the pressure would be so intense that normal materials would deform. Metals, glass, electronics, anything made for surface life would start losing the argument. And this is still not the deep Earth. This is the warm-up. Around the upper mantle, there is a region where rock can move slowly enough to help drive plate tectonics. That means the ground beneath continents is not just sitting there forever. It is part of a giant moving system. This is why continents drift, why mountains rise, why earthquakes happen, and why volcanoes exist. The surface looks still. The inside is moving. Very slowly, but with enough force to rearrange the face of the planet. Now you keep falling into the transition zone. This is where minerals inside the mantle start changing structure because the pressure becomes ridiculous. The material is still mostly solid, but it is being forced into denser forms. This is one of the weirdest parts of going deep into Earth. Things do not just melt or stay the same. They transform. Atoms get packed differently. Minerals change into new forms. Rock becomes denser without needing to become liquid. Basically, Earth starts compressing matter like it is trying to save storage space. Then comes the lower mantle. At this point, you are hundreds and then thousands of kilometers below the surface. The pressure is now millions of times stronger than what you feel at sea level. The temperature keeps rising. But pressure changes the rules. On the surface, that kind of heat might melt rock easily. Deep inside Earth, pressure can keep materials solid, even at temperatures that sound like they belong inside a star's waiting room. If you could look outside, which you could not, because everything about this place wants you gone, you would not see a neat glowing cave. You would be surrounded by crushing, superheated rock under insane pressure. No air, no space, no escape. Eventually, after falling through almost 3,000 kilometers of mantle, you reach one of the most important boundaries in Earth, the core mantle boundary. Above you is hot rock. Below you is metal. This is where the mantle ends and the outer core begins. And the outer core is different. It is liquid. Not water liquid, not lava liquid. Liquid metal. Mostly iron and nickel, flowing around under incredible heat and pressure. This layer begins around 2,900 kilometers beneath the surface and stretches down to about 5,150 kilometers deep. If the mantle was terrifying because solid rock was acting strange, the outer core is terrifying because now you are inside a moving ocean of molten metal. Temperatures here can reach around 4,000 to 6,000 degrees Celsius. That is hot enough to vaporize or melt almost anything humans casually understand. The pressure is unimaginable. And the metal is constantly moving. This movement is not just random either. The flowing outer core helps create Earth's magnetic field. That magnetic field protects the surface from some of the sun's charged particles. So the same layer that would instantly annihilate you is also one of the reasons life on the surface gets to exist. Very thoughtful, very murderous. This is one of the strange things about Earth. The parts that protect us are also completely incompatible with us. The outer core is not a place. It is a planetary engine, a giant, spinning, electrically conductive metal ocean hidden under thousands of kilometers of rock. If it stopped moving properly, Earth's magnetic field could weaken, and if that happened, the surface would become much less friendly over time. So yes, the planet keeps us alive, but it does this using a buried metal-held sea. Keep going. Deeper into the outer core, the pressure rises even more. The liquid metal around you becomes denser. The heat stays extreme. The idea of survival is now not even funny anymore. Then suddenly, the liquid core gives way to something solid, the inner core. This is the center of Earth, a solid ball of mostly iron and nickel, roughly the size of the moon. And the reason it is solid is not because it is cool. It is not cool. It is extremely hot. The inner core may reach temperatures around 5,000 to 6,000 degrees Celsius, similar to the surface of the sun. But the pressure is so intense that the metal is forced into a solid state. So the center of Earth is basically a glowing metal ball that is hotter than almost anything humans can approach. Crushed so hard that it cannot melt in the normal way. This is where your journey ends, not because you land gently. There is no gentle here. At the inner core, pressure is millions of times higher than surface pressure. Heat is solar. The material is solid metal. Any object falling into this environment would not remain an object in any meaningful sense. It would be compressed, heated, destroyed, and absorbed into the planet's interior. No bones, no suit, no dramatic final message. Just physics. And the weirdest part is that the center of Earth is not some faraway alien environment. It is directly beneath you right now. Not metaphorically. Actually. Every normal day, while people go to work, cook food, sit in traffic, and scroll their phones, there is a giant solid metal core under their feet, surrounded by a liquid metal ocean, surrounded by thousands of kilometers of crushing hot rock. And we only survive because we are sitting on the thinnest outer layer. That is what makes Earth so strange. It is not a calm planet. It is a violent planet with a safe surface, a burning interior, moving plates, hidden metal oceans, crushing pressure, rock that flows, a magnetic shield powered by molten iron. And then on top of all that, someone built coffee shops. So if you were thrown into every layer of Earth, the crust would crush and bake you. The mantle would trap you in superheated rock. The outer core would swallow you in liquid metal, and the inner core would finish the job with heat and pressure so extreme that even calling it death feels too small. Earth is not safe because Earth is gentle. Earth is safe because we live in the only tiny part of it that forgot to kill us.